And I'm live, I believe. I certainly hope so. You know, they shifted around the buttons, which had made me a bit confused, but I think everything is in order. I think we're broadcasting, and let me know if you can't hear me or if there's anything. Other than that, welcome to Playing Trees. Good to see you, and I'm happy to be with you and to be channeling Goddess Freya. Um, this evening, and I can just tell I left an A out in the title. I'll edit that out later, but of course that's interesting because she has a brother, you know, who is Frey, and they represent an interesting kind of fertile dyad. I actually wrote a paper about this once doing my bachelor's. So there is this kind of dual energy to them where they represent the fertile twin couple, which of course is what brings abundance to the earth. So I'll make a point out of that and see if she has anything to say about it. But we are communing with the goddess Freya this evening, and not her brother Frey. So I just, of course, wanted to get some gratitude out of out there and out of the way. So thank you to everybody for who signs up at Patreon and supports me over there. To Clinton, Heather, Devoted Love, Radian, Adriana, Tony, Laurie, Carla, Salish, and Sophia. Thank you, everybody. And a special thanks to Braden for his generosity, and to Adriana and Heather for upping their tiers and contributions, and to Miha for signing up. And you can, of course, pre-submit questions over there. So I'm happy that some of you did today, and also shoot your questions. And very good to see you, Jochen, and thanks for bringing your questions. Anything is welcome, but she is of course very good with love, and all things kind of material and close to the manifest world. And I'll also begin with a question. Mia asks, teach us a sweet and short magical incantation for anything beneficial. I think she's instructed me to weave that into her introduction and answer. So there'll be an instruction on an incantation in there. And so good to see you too, Braden. And thanks for sharing the space this evening, guys, or whenever, wherever you are in your day, wherever you are on the planet. It's good to be with you and share this energetic space. Much love to you guys. Have a good one. Drawn around us as a sacred sphere of protection and love. Nothing harmful may enter, and nothing harmful may grow from what we share here today. I am the goddess Freya. I am humbled and delighted by your invitation, and I extend my blessings to all of you. This message I have entitled Flowerheart. The flower of the heart center is the precious growth to cultivate this growth. We are pausing and assembling energy We are giving and offering fertilizer in the form of love and nourishing and calming energies to this energy center so that it may calm down and his heart may flower and grow alongside yours. Because what flowers at your heart are the disparate and separate worlds coming together, these layers of bodies, of gross reality, of mental reality, of subtle reality, they are coming together, shifting and becoming one in this center. And this is where agency lies. This is where action lies. This is where the personality resides, and from where you act, create, and manifest in the world. It is the flowering of your heart. And as I point to the flower, I point to two different qualities in the process of flowering. One is its unpredictable and yet splendid results. It is the unfolding of the unknown shape, and even if you have set the frame by picking the soil, nourishing it, giving it the elemental nourishing it needs, and picking the seed and the plant, you can still not predict the exact growth cycle, the shape of the plant, and its form and pace of flowering. This applies also to the expression of your heart spaces in your lives. So know that this approach to your heart space is the one which will yield the most beneficial results to offer all the elemental nourishment, care, and investment that you can, and then behold the results and marvel in their unpredictability, and attune to when you should harvest its fruits, when flowers turn to seed pods to renew the cycle again, because your heart also has this quality. And the other quality of the flower that I point to is its delicacy. So in these times, it is important that your hearts remain protected, which is why we drew a protective circle around this space as we entered, and which is why you should take heed to protect yourself and your energy by also yielding to shielding. This is important that you find space to shield yourself. And shielding yourself means retracting your energy into cycles where it is more stable and where your attention is more nourished by where it is directed. These are the instructions, the fragility, and the surprise. These are qualities of the flower which your heart always holds and which is vital to life itself, because this is how life is constantly renewed, constantly reseeded within you by beholding the delicate miracle of this frame that you are, and how it manages to hold itself up, carry itself forward, and do create, act, and exist in this world. And behold its fragility, behold its delicate form, behold how frail and delightful you are, but also how precious you are. What an expression of unique and singular circumstance that your flowering is. It is blessed, it is seen, it is felt, and it is loved. And you are all loved by me and all the high heavens. And so I will bring you an incantation as requested and as instructed. This is to help you shield yourself in these times and to nourish your love and the currents in which it thrives within your sacred space of growth. May the open sky watch over me and embrace me. May the earth move and carry me forward. May I find the wind protecting and guiding me. And may I feel the warm glow of love within. All this is hallowed. All this is shielded. All this is protected. And in this delightful, shielded love, I walk forward, guided by truth. You can use this invocation, and you will find, especially when used outdoors and on the move, that it will help you feel connected to the elemental reality which nourishes you. You are loved, you are blessed, and you are felt. So good to see you guys. Um, and yes, a hi to Essen too. So good to see you too, and to Rico, so good to see you too. So hi to everybody. I'll move in. I got some pre-submitted questions this time, and thank you for submitting those. They are more than welcome. And as usual, I just kind of aligned them in the intuitive order because there's always a co-creation to this. It's so fascinating how it comes together. And so Carla asks, is ascending literally just allowing energy to flow out of the cage we have put ourselves into? We shall answer yes, truthfully. This is a way of seeing the ascension process. It is a release from restrictions of matter and into a more free-flowing space of energy. This is the defining characteristics of what is happening to your species and to your personal experience at the moment, that it is becoming more energized, more multidimensional, and so it is not caged in, restricted, or held back by the same chains which held it before. I use the word chains to also match the word cage, because notice that this is of course a negative word choice in that it invokes negative associations, and naturally confinement is not something that human beings appreciate. You are meant to roam freely, and you are meant to be able to feel the free and open sky around you. So with that, the ascension into the sky, notice this is an openness, and the metaphor of flight occurs constantly within this spiritual language, perhaps most obviously in the shape of the angels, but of course also your galactic friends, they tend to travel in vehicles that take flight. So this openness, this release of the cage, this release of constrictions, it can be seen as that. However, we will propose that it is perhaps better to see it as a ladder, because on this ladder, or on this staircase, you will find that there are plateaus on which you must stand and where you must learn to build yourself higher until you are able to access and step onto that new plateau. So instead of being a cage, you could think of this as the training wheels that you put on a bike. So all these dimensional constrictions are ways for soul to be materialized and focused into a set of constrictions, which means it can develop itself within a set of plans or a set of growth patterns, which are both then more predictable, more linear, and more planned out. They're following these natural laws, these scales and patterns which you find in your physical world, but they're also unpredictable in the way that they turn out and express themselves individually. And so we sense in your energy that the love for this nourishing process, this flowering of being surrounded by pure and vibrant life, it's very living within you. And consider that this growth pattern is actually conditioned by time. So this means that it's only within these cages of the lower temporal worlds that you can actually observe this beautiful process, relish in it. And that is why it is not as much a set of constrictions as it is restrictions, because it is ways of raising things properly within a set of physical parameters. And this is what divine intelligence is concerned with. And you could think of us manifest gods as the intersection point between these natural forces and these higher divine realms. But because we have your images, we have your sensitivities, but we are far more clear and expressed in them. We are gods and we are divine, and therefore we delight in this cage, in this realm. And you may see these ascension realms, these steps, perhaps, and the different shadow realms that also lie adjacent to them as divinely ordained worlds. So just as I arose in Vanaheim and I live in Asgard in the eternal abode of the gods, until that day shall come when we shall also meet our end. But into that day we reside in these high heavens, which are unchanging and therefore delightful. But change is delightful to human beings. And you observe that in the growth both within yourself, in the beating and pulsing of your heart, which is rhythmic change, always going on, revitalizing and renewing yourself. And this is what we ask you to take heed of, that all these bonds of being, these walls which surround you, of reality which can seem dense and hard, is a way of nourishing your growth. And your soul keeps growing always. thank you for a loving question. Yes. And I'll proceed to the next question. Um, So, Devoted Love asks, I recently started living in a new level of expanded consciousness, wherein it is clearly seen in direct experience that life is but a dream, and I can choose at any time to enter an awareness wherein I experience everyone and all that I ever knew as a manifestation within my own infinite soul, and everything is a portal I can enter by tuning my awareness into it. Like a simple stone on the boardwalk becomes a metaphysical realm within a dimension I can experience beyond the human senses by mere intent. The only known concepts I found that point to this state are what Indian traditions call the causal body and what New Age spirituality calls 5D consciousness. Yet I also experience resistance towards the frequencies in the place I live and in the people I live in. What once I deemed as beacons of light now are experienced as undesirable. And so my question to you, Freya, is how can I shift out of my current living location onto one that reflects humans with a similar vibrational embodiment as that of my soul in this current now moment? I know and trust that whatever I am here for will arrange itself, but I see writing this question as part of that since you are coming into my reality shortly before this here live stream was announced. Thanks. Yes. There's much to unwrap in this question, partly because you are unwrapping it yourself and you already sense my presence in your life. So this is more of an energetic confirmation to trust the process and the pace of your growth. And this is an element of frustration in your life and in human life in general, that things do not happen at the pace of intent, but they happen at the pace of manifestation. And so, what you are pointing to here is that your ability to move into these realities of intent, and which you could consider a type of exiting reality. That is, what you do is that you create an entirely universe subsisting unto itself willfully, and then you enter into this, and you do so from your human energy and intent. So you create this mending of these bodies, you create a type of third body of experience, which then closes onto itself and becomes a universe both of mood, of energy, which is connected and informed by the human condition and by the state of energy, the energy field that you are merging with, which is what you are doing. And it is quite similar to what you experience in this channeling process that you see this vessel is doing, because what it is that you are both experiencing these explorations of 5D consciousness, and you are of course doing so from different human configurations, but you will find that what is similar in both experiences is that you actually step out and exit this reality and then create a universe of a higher harmonic order also because it is made up of fewer composites. So these universes, just as you feel the mood and the ambience going into these co-creations is frail, then there is also a fragility to these spaces you create because they are precious in their delightful serenity. And there is partially the advice which you are already following. So keep going down that path, that there is the expression into creative unfoldment so that you are able to bring people into these universes because they have a healing, restorative, and an opening quality to them. But then there is also the other instruction which relates to your physical environment, and that is to know that you will experience this discrepancy throughout your life because you are highly a high vibrational individual. So you will find that you are called to step into this high vibration and thereby be slightly grated, annoyed, and bothered by your environment. The best thing you can do under this circumstance is to recognize that your environment is again the frustrating constrictions which might be put on your root system and which seems to then make your plant wobble and be unstable, sort of top heavy in the way that your energy system balances, that there is much crown and sixth chakra energy going on, but the root manifestation doesn't really want to follow. And here, the simple appreciation and linking up to your environment. So you can actually bring this intentional exercise into your living space and then begin to connect it to plants in your living space. You can even begin to connect it to the energy field and atmosphere of your living room, for instance, and then to reset these ambiences and create those spaces. Because this is the frustrating part of these restrictions again, that they're teaching you how to also maximize your potential and how to apply some skills which may become very useful in your life. Then we also encourage you to perhaps think in 5-year terms, practically, this sacred and very balanced number of 5, which is a process in which you can both feel that you remain the same, but can also sense and plan out change. And so this means that you begin to then envision and invite in the feeling of this new environment, how you may see yourself in it, what you would prefer, what are the sounds and smells within it, how does the grass feel, how are the seasons, how does the wind feel on your skin, what is the position of the sun in the sky. All these things are ways in which you can attune to that energy, and then you will see it flower. Of course, it will flower in an unexpected way, but it will have the ingredients put in there by your intent. You are blessed, and we extend our love. Yes, and so good to see you and keep posting questions. I'm pretty sure I'm feeling up for some channeling. I'm pretty sure we'll get through all of them. I'll do the pre-submitted ones here. So Sophia asks for a personal message at this time. So let's see what she has. We see at this moment there is something trying to reach you. And this something is the future you have dreamed of. And you grapple with the elusive character of this vision. And you wait perhaps for an inspiring moment of sufficient fear. This is often what drives humans to make stark or radical changes in their life. But you must realize that fear does not suit you, and you have become too adept and skilled at managing it. Therefore, you must find another impetus. You must find what drives you. There is a longing, and this longing contains a key to what it is your future is trying to bring you. This is the bridge which you may gap, because your heart calls out for a different type of soil, and this is what we sense, that there is something about your plant, your growth, where the root seems to call out for a different hemisphere. So we sense there's something about the position of the sun in the sky, the angle to it, which would do you well. And so we encourage you to seek fresh airs and breezes when you can and where you can, and let this nourish you. And feel there's a salinity to this air, because salt is, as you know, also a symbol for vitality. And so you will find that it is this vitality which your root is seeking to reconnect to. And this goes through an opening to surprise, to something unknown. And the surprise is actually parts of you which you have yet to see. And relating this to this theme we have spoken of with 5D consciousness, with this pattern of ascension, a big part of it, which you have also been attempting to fit into the mosaic of your life, is this sense of awareness of a wider reality opening around you. And a big part of this is seeing surprising sides of yourself in the mirror, which allows you to be more full and to root deeper into longing, into desire, and thereby into fulfillment. Because growth is fulfillment, and fulfillment is manifest love. It is the great feminine love of the universe, which upholds and creates everything. This fulfills all life so that the empty shells of reality may become living, moving images filled with emotion and delight. This is our advice for you, and we send it to you with love. And Mia asks for advice from her spirit team companions. We see things tumbling down, not in your life, but from above, from the crystalline spheres which surround you. We see it as glitter descending. It is this delicate energy of flickering lights, but connected into a type of living intent. It seems to be your guides reaching out to you. We can relate because this is a very unfamiliar energy to the channel, but it connects to guides he has, which are called the weavers, and which are also these 11th dimensional micro bodies of ascended beings. And so the way that this relates to your guides is that these are a very high dimensional imprint that is renewing and restoring a body. And this is why we see it almost spilling down, descending, slowly integrating itself with your lower bodies, that is your physical manifestation, your mental sense of self. So these restorative, reparative, loving energies are trying to come in. We get we get the vibration of the mihin from them. That we would spell that perhaps Mihin, and they seem to be related and invited by you personally. So you have extended this by doing much energy work and much exploration. So we sense this is an opening and an invitation. So we allow, or we encourage you to allow yourself to surrender to this restoration they're offering you, because this is as if pure sunlight came alive and intelligently decided to shine on you in the best possible way. Adjustable sunlight invited in by you. It is a blessing, and we pass this knowledge on to you with love. It's really some beautiful stuff. I'll just say, and devoted love, great to see you, and Elam, great to see you, Michelle, great to see you. Um, I see that's something quite sad. I think I'm guided to take that. And now I'll just say very good to see you too, Tony. And so Michelle Gavin asks, 29-year-old son Robbie passed away June of 2019, and after about a year started seeing repeating numbers and the awakening started. I wonder if they could give me a message about my son's communication. And yes, condolences. So let's see what she says. Yes. What we will offer you now is a spiritual perspective. It is spoken by eternal beings, and to us, life restores and renews itself. But to humans, there is grief, and there is sorrow, and there is loss. And we acknowledge that, and we extend our compassion to you in carrying that in your life. Spiritual perspective is that in some cases, grief and loss is an assistance offered by one soul to another that has shared a tight and strong bond in this incarnation. This is the case with you and Robbie. And so in his soul contract, he had aligned that he would only experience life in the flower of youth and not pass on to the withering stages. We say that also to know that this was his wish to explore life in that way. A part of his contract was then to become both the instigator, the activation, bringing on overwhelming emotion, overwhelming grief, overwhelming loss, which is so often a trigger for the awakening process. You could consider, how could it be otherwise? If everything was experienced as wonderful, then why would you feel there was an urgent need to relinquish all the things you had been carrying which no longer served you? And that is bringing it back to this idea of the awakening as stepping out of the cage. It is a release that he has offered you through this gift of sorrow and through again this constriction of the heart. You begin to shed all that does not resonate with this pure emotion of grief. And now you have an ambassador, an emissary, a guide on the other side, which you are connected to, and which you can have this link with forever. So he supports you in this process. And you of him have supported each other in many difficult stages in each other's lives, in your shared lifetimes, in these forms, yes, but also before. You have been companions, and shared sorrow, grief, love, and joy. And this is what we will tell you, and you can address, as you know, we sense, you can address Robbie, and you can talk to him, either internally, externally, if you prefer, even in writing, and you will find that you can still feel his voice, his presence, and guide and commune with him there, and that you can also ask him for answers, help, guidance, and strength. And we pass on his love to you, assuring you of it, and we extend our love to you as well, dear one. And then I'll go to the top. Splendid evening, everyone. Splendid. Yes, I like that word. Dear Freya, can you tell us about Asgard? Is it a place in a higher realm where you live, or is it a physical planet in another dimension? Thanks. Much love, guys. We would like to tell you how such worlds are created, because it belongs to a different spectrum of reality. Speaking of these steps and ladders, we gods are close to what you will become once you enter into a seventh dimensional expression of physicality. And this physicality, it's not bound by time and space, but it creates and reshapes it where it wishes to see it. And so the only locality I have as a goddess is when I choose to manifest myself. And I can do this in this voice, and I can do this in energy, and I do this universally. And you see me as the flowering of the plants in your windowsill, and you see me as the love between two lovers as they gaze upon each other. This is my shape and form, and I can harness and create and concentrate that wherever I wish. But Asgard, or the realm of the gods, this is a type of dimensional subsection. We could call it a lower heaven. And this is a place where certain energies and frequencies are concentrated, but they are made sense of through human concepts and terms. And so I do not necessarily dwell anywhere. I do not need sleep, for instance. I am in that sense eternal and will only cease to be when it is my time to cease to be, and when a full wheel or circle of an eon has passed at least, and then I will come back in another form, as I appear in many forms and shapes and names. But one of my manifestations is Freya, and in this, humans have worshipped me, and they have approached me, and they have wished to visit my abode. And our friend here is bothered greatly. I mean, the channeler is bothered greatly by the fact that he cannot recall the specific place name of the abode. But I will use this to point to the sweet folly of the human condition and its engagement with the reality of words. And so you see, he is then intent on conjuring up a special word, thinking that this place name can somehow hold and capture my energy. And this is actually what these realms of the gods are. They are a type of steady invocation of human awareness, which we higher dimensional imprints of human consciousness. In a sense, future humans, though do not get too confused about these timelines, but in a sense, future humans as we are, that we can assist and guide other humans from spaces where they can relate and explore to them. And we do understand that dwellings and living spaces are very important for creatures such as yourselves who need shelter, sleep, food, and protection. We hope this helps to illuminate the question also of who we deities are, what you can think of as a god. Because what is a god other than something which is eternal and therefore is not bound by the laws of time? We send our love to you. Um, and uh, and Rico asks, is there a message I need to know for my lover and I? What is extended to me from you is the greatest offering human beings can bring me. And by you, I mean you in the plural, I mean both you and your lover, because you are extending to me the sweet nectar, let's call it mead, the delightful mead of erotic sexual energy. And this is an offering that I appreciate. This is the offering I relish the most, because this is the energy that I am but manifest through human fertility, attraction, and pleasure. And the message I have is to consider invoking me as you conjure up this energy, because there's so much energy built in your lives, and you may want to guide this. You may want to consider studying up on ritual magical practices, but only to the degree which it informs the free-flowing loving energy. And so there is absolutely no rule or delineation to this raw energy as it is released, and which is why conjuring it up and offering it to deities will bring the energy back to you in a refined and blessed form. And this will bring you blessings. That is, it will be a way that you can use this energy also to materialize and manifest, for instance, material resources, if that is what you feel like. It's also sometimes referred to as abundance, but truly what you need in the manifest world, you can direct this energy towards. You can also dedicate it to other energies, but of course know that we, goddesses of love, we receive it well. And so if you are more comfortable with Venus or any other preferred goddess, we sense that this may also be worth your while to dedicate and explore. So the experimentation and the growth of this energy and the harnessing it into these refined forms, this is my encouragement. And I thank you for the delightful energy I was offered, and I extend it back to you, blessing sacred intercourse between you and your lovers, and between lovers everywhere. I forget, archangels and galactics and stuff. They're not as erotic, so this is it's very delightful, and it's great. To just thanks for the question, right? Because this is of course really her specialty. And then Braden asks, I'm getting a candle dedicated to Tyr. Uh, um, how should I use it properly? Ah, yes, the god. Yes, I'm getting a candle dedicated to Tyr. How should I use it properly? Lighting it on a Tuesday would suit you well. This is a good general purpose instruction for magic in practice. When you follow the seasons or your personal cycles, and this can be especially pertinent if you're female and you have a cycle which is more based on the lunar circulations or the lunar cycle, that you will find that there are different stages where you can invoke energy more powerfully. You will also find that then on these deep systems of meaning, such as the calendar, which people live and abide by, there are energies embedded. So if you are to worship and commune with my energy, it is stronger on a Friday. And you may sense that there is a sense of promise of fertility on Friday, and the way that you've built your societies around the week, that it has this sense of allure to it, which other days lack to a certain extent. And this is rotating back to you then, Braden, because we are aware that perhaps you do not find advice on harnessing magic with the menstrual cycle particularly useful, but you may find that you also have a solar cycle which is far more expressed in your physical body, and this solar cycle aligns with your birthday. So we also encourage you to invoke Tyr in days that are aligned with this. And this means that you can follow a quarterly schedule. So on your birthday, 3 months from it, 6 months from it, 9 months from it, you can do the same thing. And on the day of Tuesday, you can do it weekly. We encourage you then to use and invoke his energy for your personal power, strengthening, sense of strategy and command. And this is better done with these solar rituals or cycles. And here we encourage you to sit in a dark room, light the candle, and then hold a rock, preferably of dark granite, in your hand, and then ask for Tyr to become present and to show himself in you. And how he will show himself first is through a tingling, a feeling of energy which begins to build in your navel center. So this is how we encourage you to invoke his personal power. For the weekly power, we instead encourage you to ask for his protection, his shielding. And you do this by setting the candle in the middle of your living room. And then it might be on a raised surface, but it's important it has a central, you have a sense of a central position within your living room. And then you allow yourself to walk around the candle 3 times clockwise, saying, I ask for the protection of you, Tyr. You may give him the epithets and use and address them in your invocational language as you use. It's better that you're guided by your intuition. It is not a magic code I'm passing on, but then you repeat the process 3 times counterclockwise. And you can keep doing this for as long as you want, though for no more than 9 cycles of clockwise and counterclockwise. So meaning you can do this for 9 times 3 cycles. And you can count how many cycles that is if you feel so inclined. He sends you his blessings. He asks you to extend your hand to him, and he thanks you for inviting his power to manifest in you. And I send you my love. Yes. um, I think I might save these. What are your thoughts on Credo Matra and the origins of humanity? Because when I don't understand the question, then I can get I might get something confused out of it. What are your thoughts on the rogue dragons? I think I might save them for later. See if we can get to them. Otherwise, I think they might be better for a galactic entity, which is coming up on the next live stream. It's time to channel an IND council, I can sense. So playing trees. Asks, I dreamed that I was walking barefoot and out of nowhere the shoes appeared on my feet. It felt miraculous. Would you reveal guidance from the spirit? Thank you. It's miraculous is a good word because what you sensed was the full-fledged and fulfilled experience of your body having integrated itself. so many of the promises which were made to humanity, and we know that you who are gathered here today have paid attention to, were this shift in energy, this shift in vibration, and these troubling energetic times which you would go through, but which would also manifest in a shift in your lives. And what you are feeling is quite literally on the most rooted and manifest level, that your root has connected to its reality and it has found a certain peace with its environment. And therefore, you're not precariously also treading on bare feet, which may connect you to life, but which may also leave you a bit stung and torn up, and with weathered feet from your journey. And so this symbol of the shoes that are covering you is your energy body becoming whole and you feeling encased in this. So this sense of your soul, which is merging with the physical. You are blessed, but we remind you that you are blessed, and we send you our love. Uh, Essen says, hello, Essen, everyone. Hello, Essen. I desire both promiscuity and wealth. Which do you see coming first and how? A very good question for the lady of love. Let's see what she says. So, I, yes, it's because we're kind of overriding our friend's system here because he feels the need to apologize. That the thing I'm picking up from his memory register and I'm asking him to quote is something from a rap song by none other than a certain Mr. Kanye West, where he says that he doesn't know what's better, getting laid or getting paid. He just knows that once he's getting the one, the other's getting away. So the point here being that you may find that these things can be a bit at odds with each other. And so do you aim for a fulfilled love life or a fulfilled eroticism? Or do you aim for a sense of prosperity and overflowing energy in your life? And we sense for you, you may actually feel that the pursuit of prosperity is better suited for you because the sleight of mind, and this relates particular to male sexuality as it relates to female sexuality, is that you may find that it is better attracted when it is not directly observed. And so this means that you will find that the female energy will feel safer in approaching and surrounding you, in you pursuing and directing your attention somewhere else. So the more focused you get on making money, the more women will be attracted to you. And then you may also use this sense of prosperity. You may use this sense of prosperity to, in that sense, in that way, attract people to you, become magnetic, because you will also find that pursuing eroticism without other goals, it becomes a kind of vain pursuit And you may often find that there's a tendency then to also become very disingenuous with others, which rubs off of you partially being disingenuous with yourself, but also feeling as if you don't necessarily add up to anything. Because the thing about sexuality is also that it is momentary, and therefore, such as the flowering, it has this need to be delighted in, but also to be allowed to have its time and its place, and to pass much as the elements and flows of vitality and the moods of lust and love, they ebb and swell within the human framework. And so we sense pursue the money and the promiscuity shall come, attract wealth or created by your skill, which we sense you are able to, and then feel this other manifest abundance move into your life. And we send you our love and we bless your desire. I think it's probably very good for also, I think, for my energy, because you know when you get caught up in all these astral layers and what would Jesus do, and the immovable Lord of consciousness and all that, like these elements of life kind of tend to move into the background, right? And they're very important. They're very important elements of life. So I just think like it's very good that to have that on the table. I'll just mirror that back to you. Thanks for your randy questions, guys. Um, and then Adriana Shotzino asks, "Thank you for this live stream. Much love to all. Much love to you. And could you please ask Freya how she has grown and changed throughout the ages?" Yes. In the old earth, before I had human form, I hovered above the waters, so to speak. I was waiting for an opportunity to express myself, and it became available to me once life began separating into, so the two could merge into one. And I have been a part of the vital process, and I have been a part of the lust that life has for itself, this insatiable need it has to devour and overcome itself by growing and taking in and giving off. So even in the Cambrian seas I was, even in the ages before humans, but I've been worshipped in many places in different forms. Astarte and Ishtar is one you may also know. And so names are not necessarily as important as the way people connect to me. And you may find that where once I also oversaw the harvest and the safe passage of the seasons, and I was invoked to protect crops, to protect marriage, and to protect the household. Now I connect more to this vital pulse within humans, and as humans have moved out of the steady flow of nature, you have earned the task of becoming natures unto yourselves, becoming not only a body that is a temple, but a body which is a sacred forest, a body which holds vital life within it. And this I connect to now, this plurality of forms, even we could call it the eroticism of thought, because this too is a medium. You called it the fifth dimension, and it is growing ever more vivid to you. But in here also exist worlds, codes, fertilities, which can be shared, given off, delighted in, which can do battle with each other, which can devour other thoughts and grow these into greater units of thinking, just as life grows into greater systems of vitality. So I am everywhere resplendent, and I have many shapes. But I did instruct our friend here to bring a ruby over to this space in which he's channeling. And you may find that this ruby red energy, can also encounter it in gemstones such as garnet, that it is a good way to connect to my energy and to hold it on your person when you need to feel connected to this vital, rooted flow of life, fertility, abundance. She says she sends her love. I think I exited a bit early. Um, and then, and I'm glad to hear the answers are resonating and everything, guys. Um, and then Adriana asks again. It's a great, it's a great question. Um, And I was just kind of feeling she would like to talk about that before you asked it, but again, like it's these layers of time they're different up there. So your question here is, could she please speak about the difference between male versus female sexuality? Why does it seem we want conflicting things? Thank you. Because discord is necessary for concord to exist. What is meant by that is that the very element of life is strife and striving. So life creates a type of surplus state. As energy systems, you are all loaded surplus states. And this energy, it seeks to be expressed somewhere. And the most immediate place nature expresses this energy is in sexuality. It's in the matching of two surplus energies which are given off. And of course, the question is, why not make a, we believe it might be called a von Neumann probe, but this machine which might be able to replicate itself infinitely. And why not without any kind of imperfections, that is, variations in the design? Well, this presupposes that there is a steady state to the world which is ideal, and there is no optimal steady state in any manifest energy system. You may find the high radiance of my energy pleasant. In these higher immovable worlds, if you commune with these ninth dimensional collectives, you may sense that they seem very loving, steady, clear, and wise. But they too are in a state of imbalance, which is why they are communicating, because there is a sense of giving off and establishing these vital, stable card houses of life, these stacked unities. And unity presupposes that opposites meet. And so, isn't it beautiful that in the harmonic expression of a species, there's then the disharmonic expression of sexuality? And the great and grander problem with this is not that sexuality is different, but that for a long time in human history, societies to a large degree also build their identities around sanctioning and ordaining certain types of sexuality and then dismissing others. And this means that, for instance, let's say the surplus surplus imbalanced energy, which the female form is more likely to give off, has been to some extent misappropriated and not appreciated, and to be seen as something that then needs to be harnessed to certain purposes. And at the same time, the male energy becomes within this space because it then is essentially disallowing for its opposition to be met. It becomes very rigid, very scared of itself, and in that way very suppressed. So it begins to, for instance, to fear its own mirror image, the expressions of homosexuality, for instance, but it also begins to fear its own counter image, the fear of female sexuality. And this is because it's rigid in that sense that it's trying to contain and shape a form, whereas female energy is trying to fill this form with life. And so what the male energy is longing for is the release into shapelessness. And what the female energy is longing for is the definition into shape. And you may simply consider that this has to be a negotiation which is dissonant. And you will, of course, even see this genetically, that even though nature has a remarkable ability to harmonize various genetic patterns and to create new unities, and you see that in, you observe a new human being come to life, live, and change over time. It's a unique and special pattern that's expressing itself. But there is, of course, ways in which this energy simply aborts, and you can take that quite literally, that certain negotiations don't pan out because they're mismatched, and often this will express itself, then manifest itself in things such as miscarriages. And this is an expression, but a part of it, which can be very helpful, is to see it as the comedy. And if you think of this sort of classic body low type vaudevillian comedy, there is this element to human sexuality which is quite silly because it's also the place where people are forced to really be themselves. They can't necessarily step into higher instinct. They have to perform on they have to perform their little ritual dances of self on this mating stage. And that is in and of itself a part of the preciousness of sexuality, that it also drives you to be people. And we would just say that, would men be fully people without women in the world? Or would women be fully people without men in the world? It seems that these energies depend on each other to express themselves. Isn't that delightful? We hope you can love that as much as we do. Um, and Elamis, a few nights ago, a very tall feminine figure was in my room. Who was she? Why was she there? Is there a message? Thank you. Visitor from the Pleiades. If you want you to talk to her, she's asking you to take her message. She'd like you to tell her name yourself, because it seems you already know it. And this is because you would find you could more easily connect to this name if you, because we sense it's a figure perhaps of we sense it might be of a friend's older sister, who you held dear in your life when you were around 8. Like that might be the name of this figure too. But we know that even if we try to translate it, our friend here wouldn't be able to really adjust his skill to make the proper phonetic sounds. So there's partially the instruction in it, but partially also because you find there's actually a quite a powerful connection in this name also to this energy that she seems to be connected to in your childhood. She is from the Pleiades, but she calls herself by this name of the older sister of a childhood friend who was a person you kind of looked up to. This is what we sense, and we encourage you to explore further communications. You are being invited by the light of the seven sisters shining in the sky, and they send you their love, and we send you ours. Um, and then yes, let's talk about this is good. Let's talk about abundance. I'm gaining the skills to make money, but it feels like a long path. Is there a shortcut to more wealth? The shortcut is the long cut. What we mean by that is that you may sense that there's no cutting corners here, but going the long way is the way that you need to serve yourself. And what we mean by that isn't that you need to postpone your goals, or it isn't that you can't make money faster than you are, and you can actually reach this level of material fulfillment which you would like to attain. But the process here is important because at this moment in your life, you may sense that financial constraints are set up so that you have something to strive for. And so consider for a moment if you already had a vast fortune. Now then, you would only have promiscuity to pursue. And that's a dangerous habit to entertain full time. So this means that there is a sense of discipline that you're placing upon yourself by allowing yourself to be an earner rather than somebody who has millions and millions fall into your lap. And this is quite important because it's a sense of you proving yourself to yourself. And this is a sense of independence which can be very helpful for you to gain. And you may sense that many or most, almost all human cultures have at this stage given up very strenuous passages into adulthood. And so these rites of passage for male children are often intuitively expected then to come as they confront the professional world. And that is a sense that's embedded, speaking in the archetypal energies, in the male energy, that it likes to prove itself, both to itself, but also, again, to the female energy, which represents also the manifest world at large and the social world at large. So where there is this sense of gaining your station and earning your station rather than winning your station. And this is very important that you trace this stage of fulfillment. And this is also the way that you can actually turn money into quite a delightful sensation. That is, some of you may recall that sense of putting small change in a piggy bank or something similar in your childhood, but accumulating a kind of saving and feeling that amassment of fortune, and that there might be a warm feeling in the expectation, the gain, the earnings that this represent. And you can begin to have this feeling, which can be quite delightful. If we point to the image of Scrooge McDuck in his money bin, this sense that every penny you add is also a sense of potential wealth you have, which can actually be relished unto itself. And this is a type of creation you're making. It's a type of gardening you're undertaking. And therefore, learn to consider all the money you earn as valuable. And then you will find that you are not missing money, but you are accumulating them. And once you get good at accumulating money, this is a process which then begins to surprise you because this is also a flowering, and you see that it takes on this quality for certain individuals who have grown skilled at it, where it begins to create money in ways that are almost independent of them. And so it is a type of growth. And like all growths, they can be helpfully regulated and nourished to give you the best and proper fruits. We hope you may enjoy and pick those fruits and relish them with love. Um, and yes, Jochen asks, can you give me an energy reading on my current process? Thanks. We're sensing this ray of purple light, indigo light, coming in as a transmission from a star system. The color and the feel of it reminds our friend here of Arcturian energy, but there's an encouragement here for you to also encourage this input. But what we sense is that it's a type of hyperdimensional composite. So there's a counterpart of or counterportion of multidimensional energy flowing in it. It is directed by a counterpart, but we sense that they're still somewhat far away, that they have an intention of perhaps concealing themselves a bit for you, but they're already extending your energy, and this energy does read as Arcturian, but you may begin to discern it yourself. But what it has to do is it is unwrapping your physical energy system, and you may begin to feel that when you undertake any kind of, let's call them broadly yogic practices, spiritual practices, anything that links you to the wider reality, that the experience of energy, the influx, seems to contain more focused, um, more precise energy. And we really think that's exciting. That we sense that there's like this pattern of excitement within that energy, that there's this ray of love that's extending you and you're matching it. And so it's already coming to be, and this is a type of etheric union of energy bodies where you are becoming more of this counterpart within your current framework. So we bless that discovery, and we hope that you may enjoy looking into it with love. And Angel Wing says, "Love you all. Love to you too. Thank you so much." Um, I think also because I'm getting a little hazy at the point. I think so. I think I'll wrap up with this. It's always good to wrap up with some cats. They're very delightful creatures. So Adriana asks, could Freya speak about her association with cats? And then I think we got all the question except for Braden's, which I hope we can put a pin in because they're going to the Galactics next time, and then she'll answer this question and sign off with something, I suppose. So could she speak about her association with cats? Cats guide the hearth. the flame of life. They are independent and mysterious creatures. And whenever you may think that they have shown themselves to you, completely and utterly devoted, loving, exposed, and close to you, you find that there's bite in that living, little loving demon, that it also contains this mischievous and destructive and unpredictable side of love and lust and life. And they are my creatures because I am the high mistress of love. I am the one who keeps the flame of life alive, and therefore I am guarded by these great panthers, great cats, great felines of strength and fury and complete and total willfulness, because they can be charmed, persuaded, they can be lured, and they can be invited, but they can never be owned, and neither can I, and neither can what overspills and overpours love itself, this fertile energy. It is always greater than what you can hold, and nature always spills forward in greater abundance than what you can take in. And this I am. This is my being, guided. You have been by my energy, by my love. You have been led into a deeper sense of your heart. You may know that the great cats are warriors and they protect the heart, because the heart is what is unconquerable, untouchable, and connects lifetime to lifetime between your singular lifetimes, between the lifetimes surrounding you of other people. This center of emotion, of truth, and of self, this center is shielded and guarded so that it may grow and that its love may spill forth. I, Goddess Freya, I thank you, all of you, for the offerings of energy, of love, and of abundance that has been shared here today. I bless all of you. Farewell. No, it's Angel's Wings says she couldn't think of anything, but she has two cats myself. I hope that's very, I hope the cats will hold and keep the energy. They are very magical creatures. It's turned up sometimes cats, they can sort of channel higher dimensional energy or your guides for you. Um, I felt like adding that. With love for you guys, love for cats, and love for Goddess Freya. It was a beautiful session. I really enjoyed it, and I'll be back next month with another one. I'm looking forward to that. So thank you so much for the positive energy, support, everything, guys, and have a lovely Sunday out there. Much love. Wrong button. Sorry. Here we are.